Ladies and gentlemen, boys and NBs, welcome back to Call of Duty's Warzone, and it's time to talk about the new gun in the FJX Horus Scimitar kit. This thing is absolutely incredible. However, I do want to go over a bunch of other options for sniper support and the SMG meta as a whole. I've got a very pitch-posh back and forth toss around video here of my favorite guns to use in the mid to close range. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to post almost daily here on the channel and get back in the swing of things. I'm sorry for stepping away how I have. And on that note, let's get into it. All right, so like I said, we are here to talk about the FJX Horus and the Scimitar kit. So let me go ahead and throw on the Scimitar kit. So with the Scimitar kit changes a lot of stats on this gun. We are going to lose a bit of rate of fire, which is fine. That 16% is going to change our TTK by 16%. Our damage does go up, however, so it's not quite 16%. I believe we lose around 4% of our overall TTK. That is not a big deal because we gain 35% range. We also gain a 30% horizontal recoil, 15% to vertical, making this gun extremely good to use. Our movement drops just a bit. Our ADS speeds obviously drop as the gun is now almost rifle size. This kit is probably one of my favorite that they have ever added to the game. So let's build it. All right, so I've only found one build that I really like to run on this thing. Well, there's two, but it's only changing one attachment. First and foremost, we're going to throw the Zem on it because the Zem is just OP. Then from there, we're actually going to throw on the Intless CAS 14 optic. And there's a reason for using this one in particular. You can use the glassless optic if you would like, because firing aim stability is enough for an SMG. However, I like having the aiming stability, which is firing aim and aim idle sway, doubled up compared to the glassless. Plus we have both of them. So with the CAS 14, we get a really clean sight picture as well. This is an incredible attachment. If you're not using it, give it a shot. Just be mindful, it does have a visual laser. And then from there, we're going to move forward and put the Chook angled grip on it. The Chook is absolutely wonderful. It's another attachment that I don't see a lot of people using, but it is so damn good. And then from there, we're going to add the 9mm high grain rounds to the gun so we can push our range out to a more respectable 23.7 meters in that effective range and all the way out to 63 meters on our minimum range. So this gun is absolutely viable all the way to 63 meters, which is right where our Kar 98 sits. So that is fantastic to be able to use it that far out. This thing is probably my favorite sniper support option in the game. And then there you have it. That is the build that I am using on the Scimitar in the sniper support role. This thing feels phenomenal. We're getting our aim stability from the Chook and the optic. We're getting recoil control from the Zem to cancel out what we get from the high grain. And then we're getting a little bit more horizontal recoil from the Chook. This thing is a laser beam. I've killed people at 80 meters with it. It feels like I have an AR in my hands. This gun is wonderful. And then the only change that I would make if I was running it behind an assault rifle or battle rifle or LMG is I would take off the optic and I would actually throw on the Ripper light stock just to get some more of that speed up. So we have a very respectable 155 sprint to fire and a very respectable ADS speed of 236. Our movement speeds are phenomenal for a long barrel gun. It is just perfect. And then, all right, I did want to give you builds for the Horus as well without it being with the Scimitar. So again, this is for behind an assault rifle, battle rifle, LMG, whatever you want to put it behind, another SMG, doesn't matter. This is the one to go with, in my opinion. And we now have a 60 round mag independent of the Scimitar kit. It is unlocked. We're going to start there and then we're going to throw on the Ruse 90 barrel. There are two reasons why we're going to throw on the Ruse 90. The first reason being so we can put a barrel attachment on here, or a muzzle rather, but the second one being so we can gain sprint, movement, sprint to fire, and aim down sight. It's going to cost us a little aim stability and a little recoil control, and not a big deal. We are going to gain so much movement speed as well as 8% aim down sight and 4% sprint to fire. This is wonderful. From there, we're going to go ahead and throw on the Zem compensator because once again, it is OP. From there, we're going to throw on the VLK 7 milliwatt laser so we can get that aim stability back that we lost plus some, as well as aim down sight and sprint to fire. Again, visible laser, not a big deal. This is a close range gun. The Jack glassless optic because it is phenomenal. We already have our aim idle sway in our VLK laser as well as our sprint and aim from that. The Jack glassless is wonderful. From there, we have the 60 round mag and we are complete. This is absolutely wonderful. This build is incredible. This is my favorite SMG in the game currently, bar none. And that's saying something because the Superi 46 is also incredible. This is a very, very close second to me. Both of these guns are absolutely top tier meta, and I don't think anything else can really compete with them at all of the ranges. These guns dominate the close range and can handle the mid range. So I'm going to give you 3 ways to build this gun. The first one being a sniper support build, and this is my favorite way to run this gun. And for that, of course, we're going to start with the 40 round mag, and then after we throw on the 40 round mag, as it's the largest option that we have, we're going to start with the Hound Guard heavy barrel, and then we're going to add the Requieter suppressor. And the reason we're going this route is we are going to get bullet velocity, range, and aim idle sway out of the barrel, and a lot of it. However, we are going to hurt our movement stats as well as a little bit of sprint to fire loss. That's not a big deal. With the Requieter, we are gaining aim down sight speed, firing aim stability, as well as suppression. We do get a visible laser, but again, we shouldn't be worried about that too often when using this gun, as it's only to be used when we're not using our sniper. From there, we're going to throw on the Chook angled grip, because it's the Chook angled grip and it is incredible. Again, taking a 7% hit to our aim down sight, but gaining a bunch of that movement speed we lost back, as well as 6% to our horizontal recoil, and only adding 2% to our vertical, which is almost null on this gun. And then finally, to finish this off, we're going to throw on the Rescue 9 stock to get even more of that movement speed back, as well as a little bit of recoil control. The Rescue 9 gives 8% to recoil, so canceling out any that we lost through the rest of the build. And we're also going to get movement speed stats for movement, sprint, and attack sprint, bringing us to 7 meters per second or faster than the base gun. This build is phenomenal. I am in love with it. These are the only 2 SMGs that I am currently running in the past 2 days. However, I'm sure I will get back to the diversity that I am used to. However, right now I'm absolutely in love with them. I have 2 classes set up with the Kar 98 and then one of these behind it on the other, and I'm just swapping attachments between each game. And then, all right, this next build is kind of a middle ground between a sniper support and an SMG build. This is, I mean, the Superi is so good, you can use it as an assault rifle, honestly. But for this build, we're going to drop the Requieter, and we're going to change our barrel over to the Terminal 5, or the short suppressed barrel. We're going to leave the Rescue 9 stock on the gun, but we're going to change our foregrip to the Chimera Seraphic vertical grip. And the reason for that, where the Chook is giving us that 6% horizontal, and we're losing 2% vertical, as well as the ADS gain, watch what happens when we swap to the Chimera. Okay, now that we're on the Chimera, we're gaining gun kick, vertical, losing a little bit of horizontal, keeping all of that movement speed, and we've now split the difference across sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. And then finally, for our last attachment, you've got 2 options here, and that is entirely up to you. You can either go with the Razorhawk laser light or with the FSS Ole V, and the only difference between the 2 is this one has aim idle stability and firing aim stability. So if you're going to use it at a longer range, I would go this option, or you can go with the Razorhawk and just get maximum aggression. I personally am going to go with the Ole V and just play aggressive with it, because built like this, the gun has 0 recoil. The sway is not going to make you miss a single shot. It just feels incredible. And then there's one more build I want to give you, and this is my hyper aggressive build for the Superi 46. And for this one, we are going to change the barrel to the Bore 99. We're going to add the Zem compensator. We're then going to change from the Chimera to the DR6 hand stop, and we have completed the swap over to this build. This is my hyper aggro, stuffing people, just run and gun build for the Superi 46. It has almost 0 recoil. It is incredibly fast, and you would run this behind AR, BR, LMG, etc. I would not recommend running this build behind a sniper or the Kar 98, just because it does get a little weird past about 35 meters. But if you look at the stats, we've got an 8.2 meter per second tack sprint. Our regular sprint is at 6.7, and our ADS movement is at 3.7. We're on the high end for a non-aftermarket part stock on a SMG. This gun is incredible built this way, and even with all of its hyper aggression, we are not suffering major losses from it. I am not going to control any of this recoil. As you can see, I mean, it's got the tracers on it, but as you can see, it's just an up and slight right pattern. It feels wonderful. But all right, now that I've covered my 2 favorite SMGs, I want to give you a few other builds. So let's go ahead and move on and talk about the MCW. The MCW has made a return as one of the best close range weapons with the Jack Raven kit thrown on. It is an absolute monster. We're going to start with the Zem 35 compensator because it's OP as always. always, hintless CAS 14 for that aim stability. We're gonna throw the DR6 hand stop on to get our movement up and our aim down sight speeds up. And then of course the 40 round mag, because it's the largest that we have. Of course, we started with the 300 black Jack Raven conversion kit. This build is phenomenal. You can use it as sniper support or as your main weapon on Rebirth Island with the Horus or Superi loadout I just gave you. Those together are absolutely incredible. I'm in love with this gun. I have been for a long time, but now it's at the top of the heap again, and I'm loving it. And all right, now I want to talk to you about an oldie but a goodie. Another gun that's risen to the top of the stack again is the Tempest Razorback. The Tempest Razorback is absolutely frying. This build is good out to about 65 meters to where you will not miss a shot. Past that, you can kill to probably 80, 85 meters reliably, but you don't have a whole lot of bullet velocity. Treat this like it's a 300 black rifle, so subsonic. It's not, but it's close. We're gonna start with the Scratch 20L suppressor, and that's to get the firing aim stability off of it. It costs us 1% to our aim down sight speed to get all of that firing aim stability to absolutely tighten up our spread. We had the choke angled foregrip on so we can get the movement speed, the horizontal recoil control, and it only costs us 7% to aim down sight. We're gonna throw on the 13-inch Frenzy 9 barrel because there's two things we get out of this. We get an optic, so this is actually a 6 attachment gun. We get an optic with this barrel. However, we also gain aim down sight and hip fire for panic situations. It does cost us bullet velocity and range, but that's okay. We're trading 13% range, which is not really a big deal when you have viable damage to 36 meters. This is a sniper support build, remember that. It's got a 262 millisecond aim down sight speed and a 152 sprint to fire speed. We're of course going to throw on the 60 round magazine, and then we're going to throw the low grain ammo in this gun, and that is to absolutely make this thing fry. Again, I do have tracers in it because I'm a dummy, but you can see once again I'm not controlling this. Not a whole lot of recoil here. And all right, now I'm going to talk to you about my actual favorite aftermarket kit in the game. This is a gun that stayed in the A tier this entire year, whether it's with the aftermarket or not. However, with the aftermarket, once again, treat this like a subsonic rifle. So run this as sniper support or as a main on Rebirth. For the build, we're going to start with the Zem because it is just overpowered and it's almost on every gun these days. Such a clutch attachment. We're then going to throw on the XRK Edge BW4 hand stop to get all of the benefits that we get with the DR6, but we do not get as much. That's so we're not hurting our other stats as hard. The FSS OLAV laser, the stability, as well as sprint and aim speeds, and then the 40 round mag to finish off the build because it's the largest magazine we have. Again, that's starting with the Jack Heretic carbine kit. Now this one does have a little bit of recoil, but it hits like a dump truck. And again, I'm not controlling any of the recoil here. As you can see, it has a little bit of an S curve, but it's pretty much just straight up. This gun's good out to about 45 meters. Another gun, actually, this one's finding its way to the top of the meta for the first time ever. Another A tier gun would be the Lockman Shroud with the Decimator aftermarket part. This is the best MP5 in the game currently, though the Lockman sub is viable still. This one just is a little bit better. We're gonna throw the Dark Star barrel on. Yes, it's gonna hurt our range significantly, but we're gonna be barrel stuffing with this. We have an effective damage range of 9.5 meters, a minimum effective range of 33.2. This is more than enough to get the job done. You won't take a whole lot of fights outside of 10 meters with this gun, so it's not a big deal. Subsonic, once again, with this rifle, so make sure you keep the fights where you can win them. Our movement speeds are flying and frying for a Modern Warfare 2 gun. Other attachments, VLK laser for the stability, aim down, and sprint speeds. DR6 hand stop for all of the movement and aim down sprint stuff. 40 round mag because the 50 will turn you into an absolute snail. The stats on Modern Warfare 2 guns just go insane when you jump to the larger attachment. And that's starting with the Decimator kit on the Shroud. I'm really liking this gun right now. Now you could take off the barrel and put the no stock on, but there's a whole lot more visual noise. I'm not a fan, so I prefer it this way, but you can try with the no stock instead of the Dark Star. That is entirely up to you. Let's move on to our next gun, the BP50. The BP50 has two different ways to build it for a sniper support or SMG class style build. The first one here, this is a sniper support build that you can also use as a CQC build. It feels phenomenal. Zem compensator, as always, such a clutch attachment. DR6 hand stop to get our movement, aim down and sprint up. BLK laser for the stability, aim down, sprint. 45 mag, largest we got. And we're going to throw the Con 30 padded stock on just to maximize our movement. This is a full-size assault rifle and we're moving at 6.8 meters per second. Aim down, 229, sprint to fire, 146. Just gonna jump in real quick. This thing is phenomenal. I'm gonna shoot targets this time. It's so easy to use. And then, all right, the other option is to throw on the aftermarket kit of the Revenger, obviously. So let's throw the Revenger on there. And with the Revenger, we're going to keep the VLK, but we're going to change the Zem over to the Sonic Suppressor because we need to push our range as far as possible. So we're also going to throw on the high grain rounds, and then we're going to throw on a CCG tack tape so we get the sprint to fire speed out of it because we need to maximize our sprint to fire. And then that's going to max the build out. This is a gun that you can only build a couple of ways, but built this way, it absolutely fries. It's almost SMG fast, and I mean, you've probably used it by now. You know how good this gun feels. It doesn't feel as good as it did when it first came out, but it's still an absolute monster. Then another gun coming back and staying in the A-class area of the meta would be the HRM9. I never quit the HRM9 because it just feels so good. I did have to change the build heavily though, and this is hyper aggression, about 10 meters of absolute weapon status. You could probably pick a fight to about 25 meters, but I would try to keep as close to someone as possible. Barrel stuff as much as you can. Zem 35 compensator for the same reason as always. BLK laser for the sprint to fire, aim down, and stability. No stock for movement, so we can absolutely fry and fly. Then we're going to also throw on the PCS 90 rear grip so we can get firing aim stability and recoil control. Then finish off with the 50 round drum because it's the largest option we have. And this gun does buck a little bit, but that's all right. Recoil pattern. It has a hard left pull off the rip and then it's straight up, so it's not too bad. It's absolutely easy to fry a target with it. It's not a big deal. And then, all right, I've given you a bunch of CQC options. If you stuck around in the video, surprise, I'm going to give you some extra stuff here. I'm going to give you a couple of long range options. Obviously, the Hoger 26, we need to talk about it. Absolutely best long range meta outside of two other guns, one being the Kar 98, the other one being in this video. We're going to start with the Spirit Fire Suppressor to get our range, velocity, recoil, and fire aim stability all from one attachment. We're going to throw on the Hoger Factory Barrel just to push out our range, velocity, and get recoil control. High grain, range, velocity, but we're also going to lose a little bit of recoil, so those two kind of cancel each other out. No big deal. FTAC SP10. This is better than the Bruin Heavy in every way. I show this so many times here on the channel, but I'm going to show it again. We're gaining 12% horizontal recoil. We're gaining 1 to our gun kick, whatever. We're losing 4% in vertical recoil, and we're gaining a bunch of aim stability. Now, if we look at the Bruin Heavy, once you see this, you will never use this attachment again. I promise you. With the Bruin Heavy, go ahead and watch on the accuracy bar. Nothing has changed other than our gun kick has went up to 11 from 1. We gained 2% to our horizontal recoil. We're at 4% on our verts, and then we gain 6% aim down sight. So we're at 424 with the Bruin, getting the same stats everywhere else. And with the SP10, we're at 399. We're trading 10 gun kick, 10% gun kick. That's it. The Bruin Heavy is a worthless attachment. I would never use it on any gun. And then, all right, the gun that is better than the Hoger, but not the Kar 98 is the DM56 with the Jack Signal Burst. If you haven't heard about this thing, it is an absolute demon. This thing has almost 0 recoil, and you can fry people at 300 meters with ease. I'm gonna start with the Spirit Fire for a little bit of recoil control, range, velocity, all that good stuff as usual. I used the AOK 4x RQ9 Recon as my optic. This does not have a glint. It has a wonderful chevron as a reticle. It is a beautiful optic. Use the optic you are most comfortable with. You can use the Eagle Eye, the Heinrichter, whatever. We're going to throw the 40 round mag on because it is the largest that we have, and this is a 4-round burst, so you get 10 trigger pulls here. And then we're going to throw on the Chimera RYN03 vertical grip. And the reason we're using this is this gun literally has 0 horizontal recoil. So we're going to transfer just a little bit of that out, get 12% to our vertical recoil, 14% to our gun kick. Gonna cost us 4% to our ADS and 2% to our sprint to fire, but our ADS speed is at 370, and this is a long range gun, so you will absolutely get the first shot in on anyone with a Kar 98, especially with an 1130 meter per second bullet velocity. And I'm not kidding when I say this thing does not have recoil. I'm going to shoot it into the wall and show you the pattern. As I said, there is no recoil here, and it absolutely fries. However, the Kar 98 absolutely still is king, but you don't want to build it for that maximum range build that everyone's been running because you're actually hurting yourself there. You want a respectable range, but you want to get stability so you make sure you hit your shots. So we're going to go with the Silentium 792 suppressor, and there's two reasons why we're using this. Number one, it gives us a ton of bullet velocity, more than we get from the sonic suppressor, but it also gives us a whole bunch of aim idle sway. That makes sure we can hit our quick scopes at longer ranges as well as up close. This does cost us a very small amount of damage range and aim down sight speed, but we have a one-shot range of 61.5 meters, which is phenomenal, and an aim down sight speed of 448. This thing will absolutely clap everyone else with a Kar 98 because you are faster than them and your shots are better than theirs. With a 1262.3 meters per second bullet velocity, you can fry at the long range like you have a stalker in your hands. It is wonderful. We're going to put on the high grain rounds for the range velocity. We're going to throw on the long barrel. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Same reason, bullet velocity, damage range. The FSS OLAV laser, aim down sight, sprint to fire, and aim stability. And then I use the SPX optic. You can use any of the, I believe, 3 that it has, or you can even drop down and run the Forge Tac Delta. It is really good as well, but I'm telling you, this thing is wonderful. When I scope in with this, look at how stable this gun is. It is very hard to miss a shot with this gun. And then, all right, if you're familiar with the channel, every video we throw in at least one DMR because this is DMR zone and I will never quit it. I'm going to throw the MCW 6.8 in here again because it is the best DMR in the game currently, and I would rank this directly beside the DM56. This thing has an absurd bullet velocity as we don't even have the high grain ammo in it, and we are pulling a 1269.7 meter per second bullet velocity with a 328 ADS and a 220 sprint to fire. For the rest of our attachments, after the Spirit Fire, we're going to throw in the Tempest Predator barrel so we can get recoil control, range, and velocity. The OLAV laser for stability, aim down sight, sprint to fire. The AOK because it's a glintless optic. They don't know you're looking at them with a DMR until you start clapping them. And then I go with the 30 round mag because 30 rounds is more than enough. However, if I was to play quads, I would probably go up to the 60 just so I can keep the pressure on. This gun is absolutely phenomenal alongside, say, a duos partner running a Kar 98. You will absolutely wipe the floor with a lobby. And for those long range engagements, this thing is so incredibly easy to use, and it is viable up close. You can also flip it over and hit shots from the side. That target's a little far away. So in a pinch, you can tack stance if you need to and get involved in a fight. And all right, guys, if you're still here, like the video, double check that you're subscribed, and until next time, leave me alone.